Hello, and welcome to the Straight to the Source podcast. I'm Tanya Barr.
And I'm Lucy Allen, and we're looking forward to taking you straight to the source of the people driving our food and hospitality industry forward.
Today's episode is proudly brought to you by our friends at Unox Australia, industry leaders in cutting-edge kitchen technology and innovation. Hello and welcome. I'm Tanya Barr, and today I'm joined by renowned pastry chef and good friend Christopher Tay. His influence has shaped the way we think about desserts here in Australia. In today's episode, we talk about resilience, what it felt like for him to walk away from Black Star Pastry and getting to rethink the future of modern Australian baking using Australian native ingredients. Have a listen. I hope you enjoy. Chris, welcome back to the Straight to the Source podcast.
Hi, Tonya. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. It's so wonderful to have you back. We recorded an episode, I think it was episode 28 ages ago.
Yes.
And a lot's happened since then.
Oh, yeah. Life-changing stuff.
Mm. So, in the last episode, we went through your career from a young boy, actually, and growing up in the
Inner West,
Inner West,
Sydney.
yes. So what we'd love to do today is kind of recap a bit of that for those listening that may not know your history in fine dining, and then also kind of fast forward to where you are today and what's coming.
Yeah, sure. So just recently, I wrote a book and it came out and it's been great. I think people have enjoyed it. This is while I'm running my bakery Hearth in Stanmore. So if you don't know, I started Black Star Pastry. I was the guy who created the watermelon cake. That grew really big as a business. And then at some point, it was just a little bit too big for me. So I took on a partner, but then I kind of felt like I wanted to keep moving. So I left that, had a little bit of time out. It took me a little while to work out what I wanted to do. Yeah. And that was really about thinking about where food's going and what I personally wanted to say with food before I made the step of doing something again.
Is it understanding your why?
Yes, it was. And it was especially difficult because I'd already been known for something. And so that was like a time of reinvention. And I'd built up this whole identity as the Black Star guy. And then suddenly that was not there anymore. And I was just Chris. And then I needed to look at really, once all the trappings of that operation were taken away, what really at my core did I want to say with food before I started something else?
So before we go too far into where you are now,
Yeah.
in terms of fine dining, you were a fine dining chef.
Yes.
And for how long?
Well, I love everyone to guess how old I am because
You-
I look young. I started cooking professionally in 1994. I'll say four. So, funny story. Started as a kitchen hand. I think I fell in love with the kitchen team. Being part of a kitchen team, I just love that and that kind of adrenaline rush of service. So from there, did an apprenticeship. Did the full 4 years. I trained with Stefano Manfredi at Belmondo. I mean, heaps of places, but these are the main ones. And when I qualified, I went straight to Claude's. I really wanted to get into the high end of cooking. That's what I really wanted to do.
Well, Claude's back in the day had three
Yeah.
hats?
Yes, it had 3 hats. It's remained at 3 hats. And it was a different time. Like if you don't know if you remember, but these hat ratings were so important. So if a restaurant lost a hat, they'd see their customers just disappear overnight. So there was a lot of pressure, and we felt that real mission to keep that quality level, which was a lot of work, but I felt it was really worth it, and I felt so important there in my little role.
Do you feel that that foundational training kind of set you up for what was next, even though you didn't realize what was next?
Definitely. So I was fortunate enough to work with some great professionals who thought deeply about food, and all the dishes there had such meaning. I mean, it was quite ridiculous at some points, you know? Like, I know there was, I remember one dish and it was pheasants, but these pheasants had to be trapped in grain silos over the winter so they fattened up. I mean, it gets crazy like that. Um, but at the same time, the food was actually quite restrained and simplified and just good cooking. But that was formative, yeah, those years.
And we've talked about this many times because we didn't meet through Black Perigord truffles, but truffles have played a significant role in our relationship and back in the day with our collaborations between Straight to the Source and Black Star. But you were one of the first chefs to cook with Australian grown Perigord truffle. And isn't that right?
That is correct. So uh, truffles take a long time to uh, come to maturity. So Duncan Garvey in Tasmania, I think, was one of the very, very first people to
He
be able
was.
to harvest truffles in Australia.
That's
This is
right.
going back to 2003.
So Duncan got the license to the spore, and then he inoculated the hazelnut and the oak seedlings, and then he planted them in Tasmania. And you're right, it takes years to know whether or not it takes or not. And when he harvested it in Tasmania, it's like the whole world just was in shock.
Yeah. Yes, it was. No, this can't be happening.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
can't be great. I can tell you, Australian truffles are very, very good. When they're very, very good, oh, they're amazing.
Mhm.
And what you do get is that freshness as well, which is another level of just perfume and aroma.
Well, I could be wrong, but I think Australia is the fourth largest producer of truffles in the world.
Yes, and you know what? I mean, we're all using it now, which is great. Back then, it was super special. It was very, very rare.
Well, even back then, I mean, using truffle in a dessert, I mean, often we think of it in a savory application.
Yes.
What direction did you take it from a dessert point of view?
Well, truffles and desserts have been used for a long time, actually.
Have
So
they?
yeah,
Okay.
back in France. So what we did is we looked at how the French chefs from the 19th century approached it.
Hmm.
Truffle ice cream. Truffle
Hmm.
ice cream is
Because they like fat.
yeah. So truffle ice cream just has that kind of warmth and complexity, and it's not too mushroomy at all.
Hmm.
It's got the aroma, but it's like a almost like a sourdough flavor. If you imagine that kind
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
sourness and tanginess from the
Do you
sourdough.
remember that collab we did out to the truffery and you made the creme brulees?
Yeah, yeah. Truffles always go well with um any kind of custard, any kind of fat.
And
Yeah.
the truffle and pork popcorn, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So every year we do a whole truffle thing. I do love that. Yeah, and look, it's really good to push those boundaries of what you can get in a bakery too, I think.
Mm,
Do you know?
mm. Well, when you think about Black Star Pastry, I mean, it was quite a phenomenon. You know, the very famous strawberry watermelon cake. What is your thoughts around? I know when you set out to make that cake, you weren't making it for Instagram. You were making it for a wedding. Is that correct?
Yes, it was a friend's wedding. She just said, go crazy, do something super creative
That's gluten free.
that's gluten free. So I think it comes down to I'm the sort of person that's quite comfortable with bending the rules of what is and what isn't in food,
Hmm.
I think. So Uh, I think that's really been one of my superpowers, I think.
Hmm.
You know what? I bring it back to I studied psychology before cooking, and one of the things we looked at was lateral thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like back in the 90s, you'd have brainstorming sessions where you'd get a team together, you'd have a problem, and everyone would shoot hundreds of like uh, solutions to a problem, but go as crazy as you can. And
Right.
something about that really gelled with me. Like you can come up with super creative solutions for anything, and it doesn't mean you have to go with it, but at least it gets your mind ticking. And then, um, yeah, the way that happens with me, when I get creative, I just get these like spurts where it just happens, and I'll write down pages and pages of food I want to make, and you put it away, and you come back to it, and maybe only 3 or 4 are actually things that would work, and the
Mm-hmm.
rest are just nonsense.
Well, it's your culinary artistry.
But maybe those 3 things, once you cull it, might be really, really good, and maybe from those 3, you might get one that's like really something you want to keep.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's I think about not being afraid to be silly, I
Mm-hmm.
suppose, and
Mm-hmm.
think about things, even though
Oh, mate, I've
yeah,
seen you be silly. I've seen you go crazy.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
all of a sudden, voila, there's a dish.
yeah. It's like walking a tightrope, isn't it? It's
It
either
is.
you fall on your face or it's magic,
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm. Well, when with Black Star Pastry, your identity was very much intertwined
yeah,
with Black Star Pastry. So what process, was it a grieving process? What happened when you walked away and you had
yes.
to find Chris again?
Wow, that's a big question. So, uh, you know what? Luckily for me, it was just when the pandemic hit. So I got to see my family at home and cook food for them and do homework. And, I'd been at work uh, non-stop for the last 10 years. So that was actually quite nice. But then it's gets you thinking, well, uh, if I don't have Black Star Pastry for to be known for, then who am I? Yeah. And I mean, I've experienced this before, and I'm sure many people have. Like, if you have a really cool position, like even when I was the Claude's pastry dessert chef, and you'd get invited to all the cool, like, awards nights and functions and stuff. And then when you leave there, they say, "Who are you?" And you go, "Well, I'm Chris." And a lot of people really look at the position and then kind of put some sort of value on you. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of hard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, I always knew I'd keep going and do something, and I really left Black Star Pastry to keep evolving my food because I felt that it would kind of got solidified, which can kind of
Mm-hmm.
happen in
Mm-hmm.
businesses. You ever seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I
it's
have.
very creative at the beginning, and then once they kind of hone in on what they're really good at, it's very hard to move. So in the beginning, which is when it was like a startup, we'd just be like I would just be making whatever I felt like on the day, putting it out there. And by the time you have 5 shops and 160 staff, like any change you need is a process document, and everyone's got to sign off on it. And it's like turning a massive ship.
Yeah.
And that kind of work is nice, but it's not where my happy place is.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of knew that. So that was it. So look, yeah, if you do leave something like that, it's going to take you a while to find something, but I think that's just normal, and you can just it's hard to relax into it.
Mm-hmm. In your 20s, you're very ambitious and you want to just get out there and get going, right?
Yeah.
And then in your 30s, and like in your case, then you start getting established and you start building a brand, and then, that grows. And then as you grow as a chef and experience and age, your expectations of yourself change.
But also your ability to take risks also goes down.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got
Yeah.
to play it safe, especially once if you are fortunate to have a family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes you do have to you know be careful how you do it. But look, I think the main change I've seen is when I was learning to cook, you had to go find the place to work where there was a teacher who would teach you, and so that was a real investment of your time. And then you would go there and you would really, really throw yourself at it because you knew that these skills were very precious and
Mm.
you couldn't get them anywhere else. And maybe they would be the foundation of your later on success. But
So,
now, like, it's totally different now, and that's it's just a part of modern life. So, I mean, any technique you want to learn is there at your fingertips. I myself, I when I'm looking for a technique I want to do, yeah, straight onto the internet, have a look what's been done before, and then adapt it to my own needs.
well, who was your mentor or
Uh,
mentors? Did you have a few of them
let's
throughout your
see.
career?
Let's see. Look, at my first job, it was the owner of the place. His name was Michael. He was just a really happy guy, and he just ran this happy Mexican restaurant, and it was pretty, kitsch, but it was fun, and that got me hooked. And then from there, I worked for another chef who was um, he was like he thought of himself as a celebrity chef.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just idolized him. So, yeah, I want to do that. I think that's a really good life. Because, back then it wasn't a respected career like it can be now, right?
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was a bit of a gamble, saying, well, I won't use a university degree and I won't go down that route and I'll just cook and that'll be my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw this guy and he had a pretty cool life, cool clothes, living in an apartment. You know what? Yeah, I can live that life.
So
Then
did that motivate you?
I don't think in a
Could he cook?
yeah. Well, I thought he
I don't
could.
know who this person is.
No.
So let's just move on. I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm just
Yeah.
wondering because often you look at, the word celebrity and, everyone has their own interpretation of what that is.
Yeah. Oh, look, back then too, there wasn't social media, right?
Mm.
So how would you be a celebrity? Only if they wrote about you in the newspapers, I think.
Mm.
Um, yeah, he had a pretty glamorous life, I think, and I thought, yeah, I could do that. I like the work, I could live that life. So after that, it was Stefano Manfredi at Belmondo. That was like my first place in a really good restaurant. And he was the same, right? Because he was a teacher and he left that to open a restaurant. And so that also reinforced the fact that if you love the work, you can do well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
And
is a wonderful teacher and a mentor, and
yeah.
he's an amazing chef.
Yes. And you know what I learned at Belmondo? Simplicity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when you're young, you want to experiment and add and add and add and add. And Italian food at its essence is just everything's taken away to its bare bones and pure essence of what that dish is. So that's what I learned there. And I still carry that on today. And then from there it was Claude's as soon as I'd qualified. And this is a great story. So before you hit 30, you can travel abroad,
Mm-hmm.
especially to the UK, and work a year on a visa. And I was just about to do that. But I thought I'd answer an ad in the paper to Claude's. And I met Tim and he said to me, Chris, don't go to France. You'll just end up peeling carrots for a year. Come work here. I'll teach you everything I know, not only about cooking, but about eating, about gastronomy, about dining, about hospitality. The catch is you'll need to stay 4 years. And I just finished a 4-year apprenticeship. So that was a big decision. I said to Tim, let me think about it. That's a bit of a commitment. But I chose to do that and I did stay 4 years. And I'm so glad I did because that really formed the foundation of everything I know in my cooking philosophy going forward. It was a real investment,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I thankfully my investment in my own career has paid off a lot. It's paid off. It doesn't happen for everybody, and that's getting harder and harder, I feel, for the young chefs coming through. There's just such uncertainty about what's going to happen in the future, and will I be able to afford the life I want if I cook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What advice would you give young chefs? They're looking at you and they're very much inspired and maybe think, celebrity comes to mind as well.
Oh,
So what advice would you give them?
okay. So, look, security, shall we call it financial security, is
Hmm.
important.
Yeah.
Like your expectations really are where it's at. So when I was young, all I wanted was a little tiny house and a little tiny family, and that's all I wanted. And as you get older, your expectations grow a little bit, and you knock that off the list, and then you go, what's next? But um, it's lovely if you don't have that massive expectation on yourself. Um, Sometimes I think you need to make decisions that are safe financial decisions, especially
Hmm.
if you have a family.
Hmm.
But really, I would say being able to provide a good living for yourself is uh, corresponds with how much value you can bring to the world. So the more valuable your contributions in either leadership's a great one, or um, creativity and hard work. But hard work, you've only got 8 hours a day, so hard work can only get you so far. So really, you're looking at creativity, right?
Yeah.
Leadership. If I had a team of 300 people and one person managed it and said, Chris, don't worry, I got it,
Hmm.
he's getting a good wage, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
leadership's great, but then there's also creativity. And I think creativity comes from a place where you have to kind of know what you stand for, right? And then you have to have a message,
Hmm.
and like any kind of art. And I think, a lot of things are art. Food is art.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%. We're all artists.
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah, look, being in art is about communicating a message,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
Like through your food, you can say whatever you want to say.
Hmm.
Yeah, this one reminds me of home, or this one's pushing boundaries, or but to have a message, you have to kind of do that hard work, which is kind of knowing yourself and what you believe in and what you stand for and what you will let slide. And then you've got something where you can communicate.
And the people you want in your life and the people you
Yeah.
don't, because we're all influenced by
Yeah.
so many things in the world. Yeah.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
So, with social media, let's talk about that in terms of influencing dishes and
Yeah.
inspiration. What are your
Okay.
thoughts around that?
Well, when Black Star was at its peak, like social media, we were doing a great job.
Oh,
We
number
were
one
like,
Instagrammed cake in the world.
we
In the
were
world.
right there in the pocket. Um, but this is the truth. Like, that isn't really my natural place. Am I a private person?
You're
Or,
private and open at the same time. Is that possible? Once you get to know you, you're
well, yes,
incredibly open.
I don't believe that everyone needs to know what I eat for breakfast. Um, I don't have to tell everybody every day what I'm doing, but I use it to kind of communicate ideas, Hey, this is really cool. I saw that shift when we started with Instagram, like you could just take these like snaps, real quick snaps, put them up, and that was fine. These days, like I'd say 75% of your feed needs to be like
Curated.
studio
Hmm.
perfect pictures, and that, so it's kind of raised the bar. It's much more difficult to do. Somewhere in between, you need that authenticity. I think
Hmm.
people relate to that. But yeah, it's not my natural place.
Well, let's talk about hearth. Hearth,
Yeah,
the concept of hearth and the meaning of hearth to you today.
yeah, okay. So you know what? I'm just putting the dots together.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was stuck at home during the pandemic, thinking what to do and being like confined to the same square kilometer, then I started to appreciate how that square kilometer, because I've lived in the same neighborhood pretty much all my life, except for, little bits here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I actually love where I live, and I feel such a connection to that place that it started to get me thinking about. Do you know how Indigenous Australians feel, and when you hear them talk about the way they connect to their land? I go, well, um, I could never know what that's like, but I do feel a connection to that. That's that tiny little place where I am from, and I've lived all my life. So I was born in Sydney, and my parents came in '68, but they wanted me to just be part of Australia. So I can't speak any other language. Uh,
Where did they come from,
They
Chris?
came from Indonesia, up in the mountains of Jakarta. Sorry, up in the mountains of Java.
Mm-hmm.
So they came in '68, and they just really wanted their family to be just part of society.
So they moved to the inner west straight away, or
Yeah,
yeah?
well, uh, there was a wonderful family called the Hinchcliffes who sponsored them to come over, and that was quite unusual back in the '60s.
Mm-hmm.
Quite unusual. They were very open-minded people, and so my family lived with them, and they were in Haberfield. So that's how that happened. Yeah.
Okay. And your house isn't far from there.
No,
And in
no.
in fact, you remember during the lockdown where you shared your starter with me, and we met
Yeah,
halfway, and I'm up north, and you're the inner west, and we met exactly where we needed to in a black back alley to hand over the starter.
yeah, yeah. So, uh, thinking about place
Mm-hmm.
and my relationship to place, that's where the idea of Hearth came from. So, originally, that was going to be called Hearthland, like
Okay.
Heartland.
Yeah.
And you know how Black Star Pastry, I'm sure a lot of people found out that it's from a Radiohead song, right? So this one is from a Neil Young song, um, Heart of Gold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that song talks about searching for a person who was true and honest. Whereas for me, I interpret it as searching for who I was, really, after all the Black Stars taken away and all that. So from Hearthland, we shortened it to Hearth because it's just a little bit punchier, and it has all these cool words in there which also resonate with what that business is about. So you've got Earth in there because like we do a lot of work on sustainability practices. It's got art in there because we've spoken about how we want to communicate ideas
Mm-hmm.
through art. There's a couple other words here, and
Tay,
there's
your
my
last
name at the
name.
end. Boom. So, yeah, yeah, and it's also confusing to people when they look at it and they go, "How do I pronounce that?" And that's exactly like my last name anyway. So I thought, just
Get
go with
people
it.
thinking, get people talking. Yeah.
But truth be told, I don't mind how people pronounce it because I'm so used to people like mispronouncing my name. I'm just so comfortable with it. Doesn't matter. However you want to do it, call
Well,
it that.
you've made Australian native ingredients central
Yes.
to your baking at Hearth.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
Oh, you have a lot to do with that. So this was just before the pandemic,
Mm,
2019, and I left Black Star Pastry, and then you wanted to hold a fundraiser. And this was
yes.
a fundraiser raising money for breast cancer. It was like a morning tea, but it was in a rooftop garden that was planted with all native plants. And that was run by Clarence Slocky
That's right. It
at
was
the time.
yes, yes. So straight to the source and yeah, Clarence, the rooftop, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was fabulous morning.
So there was a bunch of other chefs, and we all were able to go up there and
Everybody
have a
pitched
look.
in. Yeah.
Yep. And choose one or two ingredients to use. Before that, I mean, I'd used lemon myrtle. I knew that as a flavor, and I liked it. And there was finger limes, but apart from that, I hadn't come across much.
I've got the most gorgeous photo of you, and I hadn't
Yeah,
realized the significance of that morning to
yeah,
you until
yeah.
much later. But you surrounded by the warrigal greens, and
Yes,
weren't they plentiful?
yeah. We grow them now.
Oh, do you in
Try to
Stanmore?
anyway.
Okay.
Yes. We grow all sorts of stuff now. And that's one of the better ways to actually get into native ingredients, but we'll get to that later. Right now, we're talking about this morning tea. So I chose to do two dishes. One was a choux bun with scrambled eggs with crab and warrigal greens.
Yep, that was Fraser Island crab. Yep,
Yeah,
beautiful. And
yum,
Holbrook eggs from
yum.
memory. Yep.
And the other one was saltbush scones.
Yes.
So they had saltbush growing. I thought, wow, let's use this because you can also get it dried, and it has this way of transforming bland stuff into something quite organic and what I call bushy.
Mm-hmm.
I have this term. It's like it reminds me of the bush. Smells like the bush.
Mm-hmm.
Like hiking in the national park. Sometimes you get that smell or aroma of the place, of the earth.
Well, we happen to have
Yeah, I've brought a
saltbush
few things
scones here.
here.
You did. And the aroma in here, for those
Yeah.
listening, is just out of control. So you've got saltbush all through, so you can see it. It's so visual. You must be using a lot of it. Or does a little
Yeah.
go a long
A
way in that
little goes a
recipe?
long way. A little goes a long way. Look, if you get fresh saltbush and then you need to dehydrate it and then it all kind of shrivels up and there's not much. So you need a lot to start with, but you can buy this stuff ground. You can buy most stuff online these days. Quite easy to get stuff mailed to you.
Well, while we're talking about that, respectfully sourcing
Yes.
ingredients, how have you navigated that space?
Uh, Look, it's always better to source from a grower or a supplier that's indigenous grown. But I mean, there are other people who do buy from them and then on sell.
Hmm.
So ultimately, the way I feel is that what we need to do is get these growers enough business that their operations become uh, sustainable and they grow too,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if any of you have ever tried maybe making cakes at home or starting a business or whatever, it's really tough, right? So I feel like that's also part of my mission now is to get as many Australians eating our native foods as we can. Not only because they taste great and they're everywhere and it makes sense, but it also helps grow that indigenous supply um, industry,
Hmm.
you know? Um,
And how have you found the response? Because
have
this
I
is
found the response?
very different from Black Star Pastry. You know, you have almost your own, what is it, your own food language at
Yeah.
Hearth. Yeah?
Okay. So originally it was a bit confusing for people.
Hmm.
They came in expecting strawberry cake, and I just refused to make that strawberry cake. Uh, but they wanted things that were creamy and fruit driven. Originally all my cakes were actually uh, out of the fridge. They were made so that they would stay in the Australian climate. That's kind of how conceptual the food was. Because get this, I mean, do you remember back in pandemic when everyone was getting stuff shipped to them all day, every day?
Yes, yes.
And then if you think back to that time, you're thinking, well, who's gonna go to shops anymore? We're just gonna sit at home and get everything delivered.
Hmm.
So that was actually what the cakes were designed for, and designed to travel safely in the Australian heat. Well, yeah, that kind of wasn't an idea that people wanted to go with. And like as soon as that lockdown lifted, everyone was back for the experience, and I think that's what's really important. A really good experience.
But do you still have that in your sites to ship your cakes and products all over the country?
Uh, maybe one or two that are specifically designed to be that way.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I sometimes buy this cake from Austria, a Sasha torte,
Okay.
and that's preserved not with chemicals, but preserved the old-fashioned way with jams, like so sugar and alcohols, and that they ship that from the other side of the world, and you eat it, and it's fine. So that was actually very inspiring as well to know that um, that can be achieved.
Well, Chris, with you mentioned family before, but you didn't mention how many children you have.
Yeah,
You have 4 children,
I do.
and I mean, I have no doubt they keep you incredibly busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my eldest is just finishing school, going through his final year exams at school. He wants to be an acoustic engineer because he's a beautiful musician, but he doesn't want to follow that path. So he's going to work in like building developments, doing what do you call that? Sound compliance for
Mm-hmm.
for buildings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got a daughter just a year younger, and she's great at mathematics. And then I have twins who are in year 8, who are 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is just super charming. The other one is a great baker. And, she'd make a great
Isla.
chef.
Well, hang on, 13, 14. They're either 13 or they're 14.
Very soon they're 14.
Okay.
They're 13 now. These are her biscuits, and this is why I brought these biscuits here.
So walk us through what kind of biscuits. They look like chocolate chip?
Well, yes, they are. They have a little bit of Kanzia through them,
Mm-hmm.
just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a recipe she's developed herself, and she knows it inside out, back to front. And then she sells them to me, and then she buys whatever she wants with that money.
Do
She
you
bought
get mates rates or wholesale
I pay her
price?
pretty well, but she bought a drum kit with the money she raised making biscuits,
Isn't
and
that-
then we put that recipe in this book too.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you have most certainly gone into a new chapter. Let's talk about the book, Modern Australian Baking. And you've explained what Hearth is in terms of the story behind it, but where does Hearth and modern Australian baking come together, and what problem is that solving in the world?
Yes. I have been approached to write books many times in my career, and I always declined because I really wanted something vital to say before I put pen to paper. I think that was why I waited this long. I had a Black Star Pastry book, and that would have just if I wrote a Black Star Pastry book, it would have just been the recipes from that business plus kind of a bit behind the scenes, which was crazy town. But I felt that to write a book and something I'm proud of, I had to have something very, very strong to say and something that I fully believed.
Mm.
So that's the ethos behind this book. It is about getting everyday Australians just to start putting native ingredients in their everyday cooking, which is really what Hearth is about, my bakery. So we have, say, our croissant ham and cheese scrolls, and they have saltbush on them. And we've been putting that on for almost 3 years now. And people eat it, and they go, well, that tastes okay. What is it? It's interesting. They don't think twice.
Mm.
So that's just part of our normal everyday operations now. People eating saltbush, same as boiled greens, same as these scones.
So it's about making these ingredients accessible and approachable, and not too confronting and alienating.
I think
Would you
it's
say?
about showing people what can be done.
Yeah.
I just last week was at an amazing event. Get this. So there is a book club in Melbourne called the NAM Book Club.
Okay.
Cookbook Club. The NAM Cookbook Club. So every month they get together and they all cook recipes from the same book. And about 100 people get together and then they share all what they've made with each other.
Okay.
It's amazing. So this month was...
We should do that here.
Yeah, it's a
Let's
great
start
idea.
our own. Can we do that?
Yeah, you can start your own.
Yeah. Do you want to join?
I
I think we should do
I'm
it
a
in
bit
your
busy.
in your spare time.
It's a fair bit of work
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah,
But
sounds fun though.
it's an amazing community. It's such a happy place. But
I
yeah,
love that.
I had the honor of being chosen for their first anniversary cookbook get together. So I had 100 people turn up, all bringing stuff from my cookbook. What a head trip that was. And I can tell you, I was very proud, but also very relieved that all the recipes seemed to have worked.
Well, that was my question. Did you test these recipes at home or at Hearth or
Uh,
both?
well, so some of these recipes are stuff I know inside out, back to front. And then some of these recipes, because it has the title Modern Australian Baking, are things that without a book about Australian baking wouldn't be complete.
Mm, mm.
So that was a little bit of like research and development testing. And then some of these recipes were just about thinking about future food, about techniques that hadn't been tried before,
Such as?
making pastry tart shells out of dehydrated fruit. Yeah.
Okay.
And that took me 2 years to work out.
Now, you've got some pretty smick equipment in at Hearth,
Yes, I do.
ovens. So, how does that like play a part with making it at home?
Okay, so I like exclusively use Unox ovens because on one hand they help you bake really well without having to know what's going on. But at the same time, if you're like me, you can really nerd out with all the settings, the features. You can up and down extraction or steam. You can, oh, it's crazy.
You've brought some bread in today.
Yeah.
And was that baked in a Unox? Because it looks
Yes.
like it's wood fired to me. But it's not, is it?
Yeah. And I've got the same ovens at home. So that's a little bit of an indulgence. But if there's one guy who's going to put commercial ovens at home, it's me. So the idea was that I'd be able to work on recipes at home and then transfer it to work. But it also helps like just keep family like meal times just super streamlined. So easy.
So that's the Unox Casa,
Yeah.
which has been fitted out, been tweaked ever so slightly for home. Correct?
Yeah, it's
It's sleek, it's beautiful.
yeah, and you're less likely to hurt yourself with the home version too, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
In what way? Like,
You can't just open the door and like blast yourself with steam.
okay. It's got a bit of safety measures in place there
Yeah,
for your
yeah.
children.
Yeah, it's all right. And you can't like accidentally trip on or not trip. You can't accidentally touch any of the pipes or wires at the back. So that's what it is. What these ovens have helped me to do is to become a better baker because look, I don't have the space for a deck oven, which is what bread is traditionally baked in. But when you look at all the different what's going on in the oven in a deck oven, you can simulate it in a convection oven because you can turn the fan off, right? So what I worked out is if you really heat this oven up super hot, put your sourdough in on a steel plate,
Hmm.
and then turn the fans off. Just let it kind of grow as if it's a deck oven. It's in essence a deck oven. So that's how we get all our sourdoughs and our like all our breads and baguettes. And I brought that in because in my later years, I've become quite a not bad baker as well, bread baker, and it's actually like a joy to do the bread. I quite enjoy it, and that just goes to show that you just keep learning, you just keep learning, just keep learning.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
And look at that texture on the inside.
I also brought this baguette in because I wanted to talk about how limiting food waste was something that's very important to Hearth.
Yep.
So this bread has 5% breadcrumbs, old breadcrumbs from unsold bread.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay, I
yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah. So I was looking at all this bread, going, what do I do with it? And with a little bit of research, we learned that in parts of France, what they're doing is drying that leftover bread, grinding it up, mixing it with water. So if you've got a kilo of breadcrumbs, you put a kilo of water,
Hmm.
and then you put that into your next mix, and it just adds to the texture, adds to the flavor, and limits the amount of stuff going into landfill.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and
That's
that's the kind of change we need, not uh, stuff that just little changes that make a difference.
well. It sounds to me that's just one area that just really excites you with this next era.
Yeah, yeah,
And I mean, growing Wargle greens in Stanmore
yeah.
at Hearth. Who knew? I
I'm
didn't
lucky
realize you
to
were doing
have
that.
a little bit of outdoor area where we can have a little garden, so we can grow some things and be self-sufficient. Other things we use so much saltbush that I could never grow enough. But Karkala we're self-sufficient with, and what else is there? We've got cinnamon myrtle, we're self-sufficient, and things like native thyme, where even one little leaf is so powerful that that's all you need for a
Yep.
whole dish.
Yep.
We can grow these things, and we can supply ourselves because they're very, very hard to get, but quite easy to get as seedlings. Yeah.
And then nurture them and
Yeah, but
be in control of your own supply, I guess, as well.
yeah, but it actually the hard work is in creating the um the compost that these things grow in. So we collect all our food waste from customers and from the kitchen, and then we've got 3 composters.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and they just keep appearing. So we've got one which is like the turny thing you buy at Bunnings,
Yep.
and that has like all the big stuff in it, like all the stuff that just becomes like sticks and medium.
Hmm.
And then we've got one for specifically for the worm farm, and so like all the nice green veggies and offcuts go on that. And then the fancy one we have is a benchtop composter, and it dehydrates whatever's in there, so it's done in 3 hours. Like if you didn't have it, it would take 3 months.
Does it turn it into powder?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
All
And
right.
so on a weekend, like we'll just punch through a box of eggs, and all those shells, which is about like that,
Mm.
just goes down to that, and then
Mm.
that goes on the garden. Yeah,
Okay. This is exciting because what you're doing at Hearth and is exciting. You're building yet again another cult following. There's queues on the weekends coming for this. What is it? The Saltbush Tart. You're at Northside Produce Market.
yeah, that's fun.
You've got your book out.
Mm.
You're also, popping up here, there, and everywhere, kind of, sharing where you're at now and your enthusiasm for Australian natives.
Yeah,
Now, the strawberry watermelon cake 2.0, there's been a little noise going on about
yeah,
that. And I know you've brought something in for us into the studio today.
yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and just pick it
Okay,
up.
bring it, bring it. So
And
I have to say,
please explain, Christopher.
all right, the version that people can buy in the future may look different from this. I just have to say that firstly.
This is a prototype,
A
would you say?
prototype. A prototype. So, when you write a book like this, a lot of people invite you on to talk about it. And I did quite a lot of radio and podcasts, and that was great. But you know what? Every single one of them just wants to talk about me as the creator of the strawberry watermelon cake.
Mhm.
And it's something I didn't want to do probably yet at Hearth, because I really wanted it to find its own food language
Mhm.
and not be known for something that another business did. But really, it really is what I'm known for, and it really is a part of who I am. Do you know? Like every one of these radio shows would say, "This is Chris Tay, the creator of the strawberry watermelon cake." And,
Yeah.
it's just eventually I just decided I just cannot run away from it anymore. However, um, that's 15 years since I did the first one, so I think it's time to relook at it and think about how me as a 2025 Chris Tay would approach the strawberry watermelon cake.
Well, doesn't that look beautiful? So, what was your thought process to differentiate it?
It has native Australian ingredients in it, so it's a little bit more complex. I think the original one is a beautiful cake, and I think it sits side by side with
Mhm.
this one. That one really, it's a global cake. It looks at the best ingredients around the world and let's put it into a cake. The rose water and the pistachios, all that. This one is about what grows in Australia and how do we just bring some complexity to that, to an interesting Australian hint of flavor to the strawberry cake. So you'll see the cake is a little bit different too. It's made with pumpkin seed flour. Pumpkin seed flour.
Pumpkin seed flour.
Yeah.
Now, pumpkin seed flour is grown down in Victoria.
Yeah.
And you would be sourcing Australian pumpkin seed flour, right?
Yes.
I only know of one producer of pumpkin seed flour. I'm not sure who you're sourcing it
Probably.
from. Anyway, how wonderful. Can I give it a try?
Yeah, go for it.
Can I?
might do
Here, do you want to share this one?
it. Okay.
Here you go.
Right, for
All
those
right,
of
I'm
you
going
listening,
in. I'm not going to wait.
this version has fewer layers as well. I'm hoping to achieve that fresh watermelon texture.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I mean, it's 15 years of cooking as a patissier. When I created the strawberry watermelon cake, I was a dessert chef at a restaurant, and that was designed to sit on a plate, But
As a refined plated dessert.
yeah, but maybe it wouldn't hold up,
Okay.
So this one's designed to stay fresher longer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is fresh. That is floral.
Mm.
That is a little bit dreamy.
There's an
It's got a
earthiness,
lot of
so
texture in it.
there's strawberry gum in the base.
Okay. Wow.
There's wattle seed in the cream.
Mm-hmm.
There's tiny little dehydrated Muntree berries on top.
Muntree berries.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, and the rose is supplemented with rose myrtle.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's incredibly subtle,
Yeah.
but delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, you're always inspiring us and everybody that's following your journey throughout your entire career. And before we wrap up though, can we do a quick fire?
Sure.
You have not heard these questions. Don't overthink it. Just go for it, all right?
Go for it.
What's the wildest ingredient you've ever baked with?
Durian and chocolate together.
Okay. If you weren't a pastry chef, what would you be doing right now?
I would be working in a pharmacy, I think.
Following in the footsteps of your family?
It's very similar, just different drug.
Oh, okay. Most overrated dessert on Instagram.
Gosh, should I say Dubai chocolate?
You've been on many straight to the source food tours. Which one was your favorite and why?
We went to South Australia in a plane, a very light plane, and that was very tricky getting there, very scary. But then you took us to an Indigenous community, and we got to partake in a celebration where they got 2 wombats and goannas and kangaroo tails and just cooked them on the fire. That was a once in a lifetime experience.
That tour actually took us 3.5 years from the concept to actually delivering it.
I was very lucky to be there.
It was something else. I remember when we all got on the bus afterwards, it was quiet. We just all were taking it all in because the locals looked after us so well.
Yeah.
And shared so much.
Yeah, it's so different from our city life too. So different.
All right. Truffle ice cream or creme brulee?
Truffle ice cream.
If music and baking collided, what song best describes your philosophy in the kitchen?
Oh, wow. Heart of Gold.
Love it. You've worked with some of the world's best ingredients. What's the most humble, everyday ingredient you think deserves star treatment?
Ground saltbush. Need to have that in your pantry. Pepperberry.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use salt and pepper. Make a mix of pepperberry and salt, flake salt, and use that on everything. It's so good.
Great. Well, on that note, thank you so much for coming back to the Straight to the Source podcast. It's always wonderful to spend time with you, and congratulations on all that you're doing. You really are inspiring us all.
Oh, thanks, Tonya. It's been
Thank
great
you,
to talk
Chris.
to you.
If this conversation sparks something in you, please share it, talk about it, and consider how your plate can be part of the solution. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time with more real talk from the change makers shaping Australia's food future.
Today's episode is proudly brought to you by our friends at Unox Australia, industry leaders in cutting-edge kitchen technology and innovation.